experiencing so far, not just across crypto, but across the commodities markets, across the bond market, and then ultimately amongst risk assets, as that's what we deal with on an everyday basis here. We talked a lot yesterday about data, about Filecoin, about XCN, just about the opportunity that we could go up here, but overall, we are still flashing signals that we could be bearish here in the micro movement. So I don't want anybody to get caught up. I don't want anybody to be like, trying to look in the wrong spot here, as it still is showing signs that Ethereum can't get past this rising channel or rising wedge that it broke down out of. And we're using this as a resistance tug now. And it seems to me, even if Ethereum's bullish, we should come down to 2,558 to try to hold that micro movement. But I still think we're probably going to come down here to 2,123. I think yesterday I jumped the gun a little bit, and I had bought data and file, but I think it was a jump the gun moment, so I got rid of it earlier, just because I think it's a little early. If I'm seeing what could be this head and shoulders pattern, or at least touching down on this inverse head and shoulders, it's on BITUNIX, so I didn't lose anything, but I just feel like it's early. I feel like it's been drawn out here with Bitcoin. So I'm going to kind of sit here right now. I did send $5,000 over to BLOFIN for IOTA for when I decide to buy it, because you can buy it in spot. So that's an exchange that I use when I'm trying to buy things that are not on BITUNIX. So that's something that I did to make a plan, but I don't know. I don't know right now. Like, when I don't know, I don't necessarily like to be holding. So I'm going to sit here patiently. If it goes up, let's say data goes up or file goes up, even though it is what it is, I feel more comfortable sitting here and then being able to latch on when it hits me in the right moment. I still feel like we probably jumped the gun here. I mean, I could be wrong because data's up a little bit on the day, not much. But I don't know. It just seems early to me. It seems early. To me, it just feels, my gut's telling me that we got to be patient here. And we've got to watch Bitcoin here very closely along with Ethereum, because it seems like Bitcoin's early. I can't help saying that. Bitcoin feels early. It feels like we should create this inverse head and shoulders. And it's just early. We got to come down and create that right shoulder. And the more I studied this, the more I said, you know what? If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'd rather sit there with 30,000 in cash than lose 15% because I wanted to jump the gun. So I feel better off this way. It keeps my head clear, and I wanted to start out by saying that, because whether you're here now or when the live ends, it'll be the first thing you hear. So let me say hi to everybody, and then we'll continue on. We'll do this from a positive perspective. We'll look and we'll pay attention, and we'll try to become laser focused in the exact area. So let's see. Angel, welcome in. Hopefully you're having a swell evening, my friend. Messi, good evening. Big Dog, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. And I know it's your first month because that's my face superimposed on there. And I'm part of AI now. Somebody is trying to scam people using AI XRP Future Millionaire, and it's an awfully pathetic rendition of me. I sound Indian, but it's definitely been going around. People have sent me and asking if it was me. And it's like, one, have I ever messaged you outside the show? No. Two, do I have any of that junk that they're mailing you from? No. And three, am I an Indian? No. So, you kind of gotta scroll through all of the nonsense. CJ2 Pilot, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year, along with Moza here. Good evening to both of you. And yeah, ZBCN CJ2 Pilot is dropping. I'm watching it very closely. We have a buy zone there for ZBCN. If it hits there, it's down 22.5% today. Nick talked about the 0033 level to pay attention to. And then I talked about the 0022 where I'm interested in buying, where I feel like there's a nice FVG there. So we're watching both levels. And we'll see how this bounces. Maybe it goes to 2.2 and then bounces up to 3.3 as support. Maybe it uses 3.3 as support, but we'll see. And then I'll be interested again in trying to make a stab here again on BITUNIX on ZBCN. So, but I just want to see this back test. 3.3 would make sense. A lot of sense. So we'll see We'll see how that continues to transpire. I know MXC was down 19.7% today. I tried to just front run everybody on this back test. I believe it was going to come down here to that 1.3 cents approximately. Well, 0013. And that was just the technical back test that I thought was going to happen. So hopefully you in fact did take profit. Yeah, ZBC or data could be doing a double bottom, but I want it to prove it to me. I want it to prove it to me. I want it to prove the double bottom, and if it comes up, I told myself I'm okay with buying it up here even for another 10%. But I still think that there is a chance that what I was seeing here, it's not even what I'm seeing, it's what I'm feeling like would have to happen to measure out this part of the pattern. It just feels like if this was the start of the exhaustion, then we came here to start the head. Then if you come down here and fill out the technical drop, and then come back up and bounce through, I kind of feel like it makes more sense to do something like that. I really do. I can't help but feel like this is, premature move. And like, I didn't have to worry about losing. We talked yesterday about, okay, I'll buy data. We know it's got this technical target up to here, and that's what we put out here. I deleted it in the morning update, but it did that, and then it allowed us the opportunity. So it went up a couple percent, not much, but it had to fill out the exhaustion wick, and now it's doing exactly what it should if it's going to go break back down to the bottom side. However, if we can hold 0.144, this could be a moot point. This could be a moot point, and then it could just rotate back up. It is setting up in a fashion to where it's going to reverse here in the short term at some point. I just feel like something bigger has got to happen, only because, and I'm not just talking about that, I'm talking about with the alt tokens, because I really do feel like Bitcoin, it's trying to tell us, like, we've got a topping reversal, we've got the M there, and it's really trying to tell us, I think it's trying to tell us it needs to come down and form this inverse right shoulder, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but there's a reason I'm feeling like this. So, I came on today and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, that daily time frame could be bullish if it ends up pushing up a little bit here by 8 o'clock. But it kind of feels like it wants to put in a reversal here. So I don't know. I'm hoping I'm wrong and it just kind of ekes up a little bit. Then we can get that forward confirmation. And then with Ethereum, it's the same thing. That rising wedge that it comes up to, it keeps using it. It came up over it, and I understand in the daily that this is still fine. It's just, it kind of feels like it needs to come down and consolidate. But I don't know, because in the weekly, we're bouncing off the 20 and we bounce up. But in the daily, we've got that golden cross. So I really could see this bounce at any time. It seems like to me, if it wants to emulate and make an inverse right shoulder in the trading bots, trading algorithm, because it's on a trading, the algorithm, that maps it out similarly. So come down here, round, around, up. Now, if it does it similarly, we'll just come down here and then we'll bounce up, and it'll look something like that. And it actually makes more sense, because then you have the wick here, you'd have the drop down. It actually would make a lot of sense. That's why it bothers me, because it does make a lot of sense to do something like that. So we'll see, though. Definitely a lot of discussion back and forth, because XRP's up 2.5% today. And we're trying to show some kind of strength. It's just, I'm kind of looking beneath the surface here a little bit. And beneath the surface, the roots look a little broken. Like we're getting the growth. Have you ever seen a plant or a flower or just anything like that where the roots are broke, but the top is still, what's already there grows? Even if there was a bud, it'll form. It doesn't get any bigger. So once that last part of the bloom ends, it's stuck in that, it's stunning. It's stuck in that same area because the roots are broke. That's what it feels like here. Like we're going up a little bit, but the support structure is invalid. And the moment that we get a little sell pressure, it's just going to cave in and we're going to have a 10 to 15% sudden drop. That's what I feel like it's trying to set up for. I can't help that feeling, but we'll see. We'll see. Let's go through the rest of these comments. Messi, one more dump to $2 than Moon. I could see that down to $1.98, $2. But then if we drop there, what's stopping us? Like, what's stopping us from coming down to the FVG at $1.50? Just because we have that sudden uptrend and this would be the third tap, maybe that would be enough to stop it. But we would have to see. I don't know. Something don't feel right to me, guys. I knew yesterday ended decent and today would be okay. But now that we we went through the transgressions of today, it didn't bounce the way it was supposed to if it was going to be bull. I'm telling you, something ain't right here. But I could be wrong. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just giving you my 2 cents. Crypto Cooter data, we already talked about that. Wales, Josie Wales, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Jorge, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. He says, hello people, hello Tom. Everyone hit that like button and subscribe to Tom's channel for the best technical analysis on YouTube. I greatly appreciate that, friend. Greatly appreciate that. XRP Zombie and John Bugathorpe, thank you so much for both being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Means a lot to me. Means a lot to me, for real. The Cannabis Podcast, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XP Meteor. Love your content as well. Make sure you look for his channel on YouTube. Love it. Mark Caston, good evening and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Ken says, anyone look at Mazzy? Looks like there's a lot of story behind it. I have not. I'll have to take a look. Syrian, good evening and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor. And being a very trusted mod along with Jorge. I thank you both so much. You helped me run this right. Crypto Scrooge, welcome in, my brother from another. I appreciate that. You being in here and being in Tom's Army for over 4 years with the XRP Phoenix badge with, DGB hanging around. Love it. And make sure you watch Crypto Scrooge. I don't know how long, if he's doing any more content as dedicated as he was. I was having a lot of fun watching him back last year and a little bit before. The roots are broken, but the plant still looks amazing. Absolutely, Crypto Cooter. That's a great way to put it. It's a great way to put it. Trading with J-Ride, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XRP Diamond Hand, or over 3 years with the XRP Diamond Hands badge. My mistake. Long time. Tanya's been in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XRP 589 Moon badge. Hope you're doing swell this evening, love, and thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Kyle Kupiak, welcome in. Cape Cod Kyle from Massachusetts, not Florida, and it shows his over 1 year. I Told You So badge. Look at that, Kyle. Today it shows your badge. Tom Hyall, greater Tom Hyall. I love it. Welcome in, my friend. Shane Keglata, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 4 years with the XRP Phoenix badge. Unbelievable to see a couple of you in here for 4 years with those badges. I too have that badge. It's a beautiful badge. AUB, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. Zachary Clark, good evening. Tom, I have no fear. Zach is here. That's true. We have no fear. Especially because Zach's here. Interesting. I like it. Let's see who else is here. John Patak, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the 2 years with the XP 589 Moon badge. Sorry about that. I almost gave you half the credit you deserve. True, welcome in. Man, he's been here since, I don't even know how long, a very long time. True, wasn't it fun in the last bear cycle when nobody was really wanting to latch on to some of the assets we like when it was in the bear of the bear? And then we got to appreciate it. Now everybody wants to act like we're in the bear of the bear, but we're really not. Not yet. Let's see. Jason Whipple, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor. Or your second month with the Dusty Dot Crypto News, I mean. I apologize. Hey, Tom, I'm getting scared over here. I don't know what to do here. What do you mean, Sir Smokes a Lot? And thanks for being in Tom's Army for 6 months with the XP Predictor. If all else fails, you can always go liquid. Still doing the content, Tom. Had to start a new channel. I didn't secure the first one properly, brother, but still pushing forward. Oh, well, that's unfortunate. You'll have to share the channel because I didn't even know you had a different channel. No wonder I'm not seeing content lately. That's about right. You should share it in the chat so we can get it. So with that being said, good evening. 5:53 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So as we sit here on the fringes of what looks like, to me it looks like a trap. Before we had a bear trap and it came up from 74K. This almost looks bull trap-esque. This looks bull trap-esque. Only because we're not making any real substance here. And the fact that in the daily, we started breaking up and now we came back within yesterday's daily candle, that's not exactly a good sign. Now, the only good news here is we've got 2 hours and 6 minutes, so we could forward run our way out of here. Ethereum is another one. Ethereum's the gatekeeper right now, as I keep saying. The problem with the gatekeeper is it looks like it wants to come down and create that inverted right arm. Now, we could say that maybe this is the left shoulder and this was just a wick down, and then maybe it plays it here. But do we really trust it? But that 4-hour candle, I don't know, and with that bearish cross and now it's recross, it almost looks like it was a little bit of a trap to get more buyers in here. So ultimately the sellers could take advantage. I don't want to say it's 100%, but I'm not liking what I'm seeing here with the rotational setup. I don't like the fact that we continuously are getting beaten down by that rising wedge resistance after a formidable breakdown by Ethereum. And now it's been several weeks and it can't get back over it. This has all the makings for another sign down, assuming that this can't go up anymore. And this weekly still has 5 days, so that's the one thing that is working in our favor. It's early in the week, but at the same time, we're one strong, swift move from having a 15% sell-off across the board. And I don't think anybody realizes that. Like the exact scenario we're facing right now. Like, we really had an opportunity for a couple days to make a little bit of bread. But I came on here very convincingly and said, I feel like something ain't right here for a reason. But that doesn't mean I'm right. That could mean I'm just overly cautious. But I don't like what I'm seeing right now. Thinking he's more like the smoke over the liquid. What, Julie? And I'm not a financial advisor, so I very well could be a dope. But I tend to be on the ball more times than not. And I look at it in real time. I'm just looking at it in real time. It don't feel right to me. And when it doesn't feel right to me, it doesn't feel right. Now, Quant came up today. And it's filling out that technical rise that we had from the breakout. We'll see if this can continue to be an outlier here. But we'll see. Well, this feels like we're on the, I don't know. When I start looking at these deeper, almost looks like we're rising wedges. But not necessarily. Because at least this came up over the top. Right? At least it came over the top, so. But now if you start looking at it like this. Now we have to see if it gets a rejection here, right? So if you're a fan of Quant, you have to see if this gets a rejection. Because if it does, I hate to break it to you, but that is also not going to be the best case scenario. We got to just get out of here. If it gets out of here, you're going to 130. So if Quant can get out of this formation, it's going to 130. It's built in. If not, it's going back to retest just below that $100 level. Man, I'm so thirsty. It was 90 degrees here in Michigan today. And I was outside. I was only outside for a few hours working, but I tidied up some stuff and put some new stuff in. But it took a few hours. There was about, I don't know, a couple 100 pounds of dirt involved. Let's see. But like, the cool thing is in commodities, the mining stocks called bullshit today. I love it too. The mining stocks absolutely called bullshit today. Gold was down like $40 earlier in the day. Silver was down about 1.5% earlier in today. Gold finished down 29.80 or about 0.88%. Silver finished down 0.75% or 26 cents. Still looking beautiful at 34.49, but after a small down earlier in the day, B2 gold came back to practically even. It is even in after hours now. Barrett gold in after hours. We're back within 20 cents of the day's start. Pan America Silver came up and actually put on a gain for the day after being down a couple percent. First Majestic was down several percent, ended up putting on a 2.47% move, and now it's over $7 per share, 7.05. And Fortuna, after being down a couple percent, ended up putting on a 12-cent gain, or better than 1.8%, 1.83% to $6.68. So the mining stocks today called bullshit on the gold and silver retracement, saying that this is just a support tap. However, the alt tokens, Bitcoin and Ethereum, are calling bullshit on the altcoins movement, saying that, hey, this might have been an artificial move up, and this doesn't, this isn't necessarily what we're looking for here. I didn't see those volume spikes. I didn't see anything that makes me feel like something changed here. Man, oh man. I wish I had better news. I really do. Let's see. 111 billion on total 3 would fill out the inverse head and shoulders of the cup and handle. Where is the total 3? Let's see where we have this marked out at. I could see that. I could say somewhere around there. I'm going to get rid of this. Because I drew this line across for the back test, and that was at like 770. I believe. That's where I drew that line, because I thought that's where we could back test on the total 3. And you can see that would be a nice setup. There's an M-topping reversal there in the short term. So see the micro, like I put in the title. In the title, I put XRP Danger Zone, Bitcoin and Ethereum Flash Breakdown Signals. And this is why I put it like that, because it is flashing signals here that we are starting to break down. Even though we had a golden cross in the daily, we got rejected at the 20. That should have never happened. So that's why you have to kind of call this like, holy shit, we have an hour and 58 minutes for this to start showing some kind of rally. So again, it's not over yet. There's still time. But we got to do some damage now. Like, we're running out of time here. We only got 2 hours left on this candle. And the total 3 is it's the total crypto market cap of all cryptos except Bitcoin and Ethereum is the total 3. The total crypto market cap has everything, including Bitcoin and Ethereum. So you take out those 2 tokens, and you're down to 854.6 billion. You put in those 2 tokens, and you have a $3.26 trillion market cap. Much too much of the market's controlled by 2 entities. When you look at Bitcoin, the total 3, doesn't it look like even the total 3 could come down to 2.82 billion and put in that inverse right shoulder? I'm just saying. And like that descending triangle that helped us figure the breakout, that's great. But remember, the overriding pattern was right here, and it never even came up to take it out. It never took that out at all. You could technically come across like this and say, okay, well, actually, that makes a lot more sense. But it never took it out. We never took those levels out. This becomes a little tricky here if I'm being, like, this is tricky. Because we did break out of that descending wedge. But to break back into the bullish territory, we got stomped here. So it's tough. It's tough because this is going to have to backtest to validate the move up. And if I'm looking at it, I'm looking somewhere between 2.82 I'd be looking for somewhere around this area for validation. And then if it breaks through there, it could get ugly. But eventually we're going to get the news we've been waiting for. I know you all know this. We're going to get the news we're all waiting for. And we're going to get not just the quantitative easing, but we're going to get the rate cut. Now, do I think it's going to come in June? I don't know. I think maybe not. But I do think in Q3 we should get it no problem. And then instead of getting 25 or 50 basis point cuts, because they were going to do 25, I think we're going to get 75. So we'll start to get 75 basis point rate cuts instead of 25, and I think that's going to be a big, big thing. As soon as the market closed, sell-off started. Too much leverage right now on both. Absolutely there is. I think that's why it went up first, was to clear some of the short liquidation. Julie, can you bring me another water, please? I think that's what happened. We went up to clear out the short traders. You know, so it had to... man.
I had to put one in the fridge then.
Huh?
Put one in the fridge then.
Okay, thank you. I love water. You talked about XCM. It's so close because some of these really do look like they're getting ready to put on a show. But on XCN, I did circle down here because I thought it was going to break through here after a while. And we'd find ourselves mashing up with this line right here at 1052. And the 1052, to me, it could get you down around there with a breakthrough or just support of this uptrend. I think you'd be okay just supporting the uptrend, and I think it's trying to validate it again, but that doesn't need to happen if we broke out of here. Because technically you can see it's a back test. It's just I don't feel the support and strength that we should have. We don't have that volume. It's a little nerve-wracking, but it is holding it for all intents and purposes right now. It just looks like it's early. Feels a little early, that's all. If we break down 825 billion, we might get real ugly in the 4-hourly. You better believe it. Oh, you better believe it. If the total 3 breaks down that 825 billion, it could definitely get ugly. It's already getting ugly, guys. This 4-hour close is brutal. If it ends like this is brutal. That's a death cross. Reject. I'm telling you, be careful. Be careful. I am not a financial advisor, but if I was a betting man, I would say, get the fuck out. Be careful. Absolutely, I have time to take a look at the XRP Bitcoin pairing. We're going through it all today. We are going through it all today. It's only been 27 minutes. We've got plenty of time. Looks like a head and shoulders is forming here as well, doesn't it? And the micro, that's a topping reversal. That's an M topping reversal with the bear flag forming. That's my famous J hook I always talk about. Turn the golf club inside out and take a swing. And now you have this dot cross. We're early. We are early. You may be interested in my XRP Bitcoin taker. You may not in the pairing. Because we bounce off of here so far. And this would be our first area. And if we measured it out, I put it back here a little bit. But that was just because of where it was set up. But we're either going to hold this or we're going to go back down and back test that descending wedge that we never back tested. Right here. And if we get a breakdown in the market, I could definitely see this reversing. And instead of breaking up to that 4,000 sat level, I could see this coming down to the 702 sat level. It's all an illusion. So, I mean, it's very tricky. I can say one thing that's kind of nice when you look at this wick. You can see a little uptrend starting from here. So boom, boom. But now to validate that uptrend, it kind of verifies what we're saying, that we're early. And we need to validate this on the bullish side instead of the bearish side. So it's tricky, man. It's tricky, everybody. Don't get caught with your pants down right here. Because if you get caught with your pants down here, you're literally going to be... That's what I'm saying. I hope that it doesn't go down to the next level and everybody who's taken for granted here that it's about to go up. Because right now, I mean, even in the XRP Bitcoin pair, there's no volume. We didn't show any strength there in the daily. This literally looks like it's going for the tailor-made retest of a breakdown of the death cross. That 20 cross at 200, that's a signal that we have a short-term pattern flip in the daily. That 50 crosses the 200, that's confirmation. The 100 does it, And that's validation that we are going down. Or the validation would be the 20 crossing, or the 50 crossing the 200. But the validation would be the 100 crossing the 200. And we're close. We're at the old Mendoza line. If we drop XRP, I think we've got this nailed where it would go. I think we have that $1.98 to $2.04 area. But I think if this was a failed breakout up and this uptrend doesn't hold, I think it's setting us up to come all the way back down to the FVG at $1.50. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen because I could certainly see it holding that $1.98 and putting in kind of like this inverse right arm on the shorter side. So I don't think that that's impossible. But for some reason, I just can't get it out of my head that $1.50 Bitcoin back to 90K right now. And Ethereum could be as low as like 2,050 something and still be on this inverse pattern. Otherwise, we need a breakout here so we can avoid this narrative. I don't want this narrative. This is just pay attention and be alert to it. I think we could get out of here, though. I think it could be a trap, but I don't know. So I'm kind of sitting here waiting in the daily for Ethereum, waiting to see if we can get a close here over 2,617. I'm waiting to see if we can get some kind of volatility and that it doesn't just roll over. I would love for it not to roll over. We've seen too many rollovers here recently. I would love to just see one confluent push up. Like, maybe we don't need to have that breakdown. You know, maybe it is the bounce right here. Maybe this is the back test at 1443 that we were needing. And now maybe this is where it shoots up. You know, maybe this is where Filecoin actually gets a little momentum here. And maybe this is where it starts to take control. Because it's not impossible. And I almost feel better now that it did this. Well, it didn't come all the way down. Close. But we're just paying attention. And by no means am I saying me being liquid and not staying in those positions was a good idea. I'm just saying it makes it easier for me to read a chart if I'm not trying to pull it one way or the other. And then I can be more official. And then if I got to buy back in, if it looks like it's going into the areas I want, I don't have a problem doing that. I'm not the person who cares if it goes up a couple percent or goes down a couple percent. Because I know in the end it's going to be several 100%. So a few percent doesn't mean anything. But I also know, like, you have to be level-headed sometimes. Because we've got traps on both sides. So I want to see what side of this trap plays out. I hope the bulls play out. Makes it a lot easier for me as far as being doing XRP and doing crypto. Makes it a lot easier when the bears are winning out, believe me. A lot more people are having fun. A lot more people are deciding to join in for the conversation. And a lot more people, their mindset goes up. And like I said, I sent funds over to BLOFIN so that I can be on IOTA when the time's right. But they're all showing me signals that it just might be early. We've got these death crosses, especially in the total. We see it in the total crypto market cap. So we just got to be a little bit on alert. That's all. We've got escalating war drama that we're not really hearing about in the USA, but it's not good. So Brad Garlinghouse says Ripple never made a bid to acquire Circle, contradicting recent reports. Isn't that interesting? So you never really know what to believe, do you? A lot of it's smoke and mirrors, and we find it out every single day. It's kind of crazy. If you are watching, please make sure to hit that like button if you appreciate what I'm doing. Less than half of you, about 40% of the audience, only 61 out of 132 so far have hit that like button. Not surprised. Not surprised. A little harder to hit that like button when the market's not doing what we want. Brad Garlinghouse says Ripple never made a bid to acquire Circle, contradicting recent reports. Ripple never pursued a deal to acquire Circle, according to a conversation between Georgetown law professor Chris Broomer and Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse, who contradicted recent media reports that his crypto powerhouse reportedly offered between $4 to $5 billion to bring the stablecoin issuer in-house. Brad was unequivocal. Ripple never pursued an acquisition of Circle, and while he wished the company well, it wasn't something he was considering. Brumer posted to X on Tuesday, citing a conversation he had on stage at the Ripple Las Vegas conference 48 hours ago. The conversation was not initially broadcast. Bloomberg was first to report that Ripple had made Circle an offer. Fudsters, which was rejected as too low. Coinbase, which has a long-standing relationship with the stablecoin issuer, allegedly made a counterbid. However, a Circle representative told the block that the firm is unequivocally not for sale. Circle is looking to go public at a recently upsized $7.2 billion valuation as early as this week under the ticker CRCL. It will sell 32 million shares of Class A common stock for between $27 and $28. In 2022, the firm canceled a planned SPAC merger, which would have taken it public at a $9 billion valuation. Ripple announced plans to issue a revival dollar-pegged RLUSD stablecoin in April 2024 and received approval from the New York Department of Financial Services in early December to begin rolling it out. RLUSD has a market cap of $310 million, a fraction of Circle's $61.5 billion USDC. According to Brumer, Ripple is betting on a world where crypto and traditional finance are hybridized, where tokenized assets, stablecoins, and traditional financial institutions coexist and interoperate. Brumer suggested that if Ripple, which has lately been on a buying spree following the evacuation of its year-long lawsuit with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, were to make additional acquisitions, it would target firms that connect to the real world like fiat on-ramps and payment processors. Think not only picks and shovels, but also bridges between the old and new, Brumer said. In April, Ripple said it spent $1.25 billion to buy out global credit network Hidden Road, a firm that clears $3 trillion annually across markets and serves more than 300 institutional customers. It was briefly the largest crypto merger and acquisition deal until Coinbase purchased Deribit. Disclaimer: the block is an independent media outlet. Yada yada yada. Good for them. So I think that's pretty interesting that Brad Garlinghouse said that. I really do. And then the death cross. So this is where I like to kind of get a little bit of validation on what we're saying, and then a little bit of the news. So I want to read this as well. I'm sure some will leave, some will stay. I think it's important to hear all sides and not just mine. But I do appreciate that most of you like what I say more than the news. XRP to lose $2 if this death cross is validated. XRP is now facing a technical setup that could spell serious trouble for the bulls. There is a death cross forming between the 23-day and 200-day moving average, and history shows that this often leads to a big drop. Right now, XRP is trading just over $2.20, changing hands at $2.25 approximately, but is really up in the air. If the death cross is confirmed over the next few sessions, market watchers may want to brace for a retest of the $2 level or worse. This setup is not just a technical detail. The last time the 23-day moving average crossed below the 200-day moving average was in October 2024, and it led to a quick 10% drop over 3 trading days. But as we remember after that, we had a magnificent 10x rally after. But it gets heavier. Back in February, the 23-day moving average crossed the 50-day, and XRP started dropping like a rock. Over the next 2 months, unlike the popular phrase dropping like it's hot, or dropping like it's hot, XRP was dropping like a rock. Over the next 2 months, losing almost 32% of its value. And I think this makes sense because that could be a direct correlation of how XRP could get down to that $1.50 fair value gap. In May, a bearish crossover between the 50 and 200-day averages happened right before an 11% correction over 2 weeks. Tom, I purchased B2 Gold a few weeks ago when you were talking about it. I'm up over 20% now. Yep, you bought it at that 280-something mark or 290 mark. Freaking phenomenal. That was the perfect buy. I harped on it so much at that point. I'm glad somebody took advantage of it, Frankie. And thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months, Frankie Fresh. I love it. That's what I love to hear. 289, that's exactly what I bought it at. Exactly. After I sold it at 340, that was the exact buy that I had at $2.89 when I rebought it back. Because we had a nice run up from 240 to 340. No, 240 to 320. Then we sold until 260. Then it went to 340 and sold. Then I bought back at 289 and said I'm not selling again because we're just in that part of the pattern now. You can't. It's over. You can't do it no more. Great fucking buy. Oh, great buy. We'll take a look at B2 Gold before this is all said and done today as well. But if it gets heavier back, and I want to read this again. Back in February, the 23-day moving average crossed the 50-day, and XRP started dropping like a rock over the next 2 months, losing almost 32% of its value. Arichi Farms, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor. Good afternoon and evening, my friend. Of its value, and in May, a bearish crossover between the 50-day and 200-day averages happened right before an 11% correction over 2 weeks. If this latest crossover is confirmed, it looks like we are for a repeat of that behavior. On the daily chart, XRP is having a hard time holding support, just above a busy area near the $2 mark. The volume is down, and it looks like the market is playing defense. If the price dips below this key level, it could lead to a deeper slide toward the $1.85 to $1.90 support band, which is visible from March's price structure. If XRP does not manage to break north of the cluster of resistance between 226 and 232 soon, a $2 breakdown may be more than just a technical risk. It may be inevitable. And I like that word because do you remember what I put in one of my titles? A day or so ago? I said, where was this at? Where was the inevitable one? Because I do so much stuff. So I said on 4 days ago, XRP price action, critical support lost. And then I talked, where was the inevitable one? It was somewhere. I said, is a drop below $2 inevitable? I don't remember where I put it. Oh, 2 days ago, XRP is a drop below $2 unavoidable. And then I put down after Ripple releases 1 billion XRP tokens from escrow. But as you know, it's not a direct correlation of why that drop would happen. And yesterday we did close the daily bullish, which allowed us to have a little price appreciation today, but it's not happening as of yet. Even though Ethereum did have a golden cross, Bitcoin is at a make it or break it. Crypto's gonna have a wild week, and will XRP spike? It did initially, but now now it's starting to catch where it's at. So let's see. XRP on the verge of 1 million fundamental threshold. I don't give a rat's ass about the fundamental nonsense. XRP sell-off rumors swirl after expert questions war chest. Interesting. So I'll ask you guys, does anybody want to hear about the sell-off rumors after expert questions Ripple's war chest? We'll see if anybody wants to see it. If you do, let me know. ZBCN down 17%. It's come up about 5% since the live. Because I really don't want to read that nonsense, to be honest with you. But if somebody else wants me to, I will. Bouncing off the 200-day right now. We do have that bearish cross that's now coming through the 50. This still looks like a top and reversal. I probably wouldn't do anything here. I would let it play out. See if it hits 3-3 or the 2-2 level, which is where I see. Yeah, I'd rather have it all than just all the info than just one side of it. That's why I was asking if anybody wanted it, because that's what I was thinking in my head. Even though I don't necessarily want to read it, I still want to know all sides, just so I know what everybody's thinking. God, come on, Ethereum. Get back over 2,618 and just start running a little bit. That's what we really need. We really do. It's going to come down to Bitcoin. All right, let's see what this war chest bullshit's about. XRP sell-off rumors swirl after expert questions Ripple's war chest. CoinRoute's chief executive Dave Weisberger detonated a fresh round of anxiety in the XRP market on Monday when he asked on Scott Malker's podcast whether Ripple Labs could finance a takeover of Circle for... And we already know this is bullshit. What's the point of this? There's no reason... You know what? I can't read this. What's the point? We already know that they're talking about something that never happened. So remember, I don't know. This doesn't... Obviously, they could if they wanted to. They got plenty of capital liquid. But it's a moot point. It's a moot point because it was never for sale and they never made an offer. That's a moot point. I'd rather not waste my time. I think we could find something better. Ooh, let's see what they say about the wave count. Wave count analysis reveals the XRP price trigger point for takeoff. The XRP price may be on the verge of a significant breakout according to a new wave count analysis combining the Elliott wave theory and the Wyckoff reaccumulation principles. After months of sideways trading and corrective movement, analysts have pinpointed a critical price level that could serve as a trigger point for XRP's next leg higher. A new analysis published by Charting Prodigy, yada, 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 says the Elliott wave structure that began forming after the April lows this year, the price has completed wave 1 of a new impulse cycle, followed by a WXY corrective wave 2. Recent price action also indicates that XRP is now entering sub-wave 3 of a macro wave 5, which is typically the most powerful and extended wave. And that's what we've been debating. That's what we've been debating. Anyone else having problems with Telegram? No, the only problem I had is that we had some scammers come in that tried to act like me. You know. There's but look, this is the fake AI. So if you got this video, does this sound like me? Somebody made a fake AI video of me. See this?
Hello, friend. You are lucky to be among the random people I decided to reach out to today to know how trading has been for them and to also know if you have found my content useful so far. But first, I would like to know your name and where you are from.
That was fake. That's fake AI, and they came into here, and I had to ban them. But you know, that's the kind of shit I deal with on a daily basis, and it sucks because people are not. Yeah. You know, that was that's an interesting one. Oh, AI, I know fake AI did give me a baby face. They used the picture from when I did my I know the exact picture they used. They used the one when I was doing my my gold silver report when I was doing that kind of stuff. Yeah, so it's pretty interesting. According to the experts' analysis, a confirmed breakout above the critical trigger point could signal the start of a rapid markup phase, potentially propelling XRP toward the $2.90 to $3.40 range. That is if we can break the 256 level, which I still believe that's nonsense. 265 is the right trigger level, and we found out before when we broke 256, did that mean diddly squat? No. Did it matter that we broke 256 and held it as support? Absolutely not, because 265 is the real trigger point. Not that this analysis is bullshit, but the real trigger pivot point is 265. 256 is meaningless, in my opinion. The significance of this bullish target is supported by not only the Elliott wave analysis, but also the Wyckoff accumulation, Fibonacci extension targets, and the emergence of a bullish divergence forming on the moving average convergence divergence MACD. Notably, the analyst points to a classic Wyckoff accumulation structure taking shape on the XRP price chart. He has identified key phases such as preliminary support, automatic rally, and secondary test. The structure also included a spring phase and most recently a last point of support. Kind of sounds like to me we're trying to fit an agenda. Richard, you banned me also. If I did, it was an accident. I apologize. I'll have to go back and look. Fake AI means you've made it. You're famous. Thanks, John Sampson, and thanks for being part of Tom's Army for 47 months with the XRP Diamond Hands badge. You know, you're 1 month away right now from your 4-year badge. The XRP Phoenix badge. Awesome. 1 month away. I've had Bloomberg. Yeah, that's I used to put Bloomberg in the background every single time a couple years ago when that video was from that they decided to use. I used to put Bloomberg in the background. It would scroll across the TV, even though it was inverted. I banned Richard. That's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. My friend Richard. Let's see. Richard. I know I banned Richard on accident. See these fucking people that are always spamming us, and I banned the wrong people. Now I'm gonna have to figure out where I banned them. But yeah, I'll look at that, Richard. I promise. Can I say?
Love you.
Love you too. But yeah, I'll look at this after, Richard. That was my bad. That was my bad. Unfortunately, I banned Richard. I feel like a dick. We'll figure it out. It says invite expired. I was in the army. Yeah, thanks, my friend. Telegram has so much info. Interesting. I'll try to figure it out, Richard. I gotta figure out what I did. I'm gonna have to figure out what I did. I'll have to go into the bands. I'll have to go into all the band people and start going back through there. Okay. Well, I'll try to fix that today, I promise. Let's see. But yeah, that's what they're saying about that. I think this is pretty much, I think it's a wrap. Hopefully we can start pushing up because crypto, maybe a small little sign of hope here at the end of the day, but let's get through some of these concrete resistance areas. And let's, even if it is a danger, let's see if we can push out of here. Like, we're trying. We're still trying. We're still holding on to these key areas. At least on the close today, we're not breaking down any walls yet. Is there signs that maybe it reverses? Maybe. Maybe. But there are also signs we could pop up here. So, you know, it's going to be a tricky one. But there are some things that have started moving. So if you feel good in your conviction of what you're buying, take it for a ride. Quant was up 4.4% today. Yeah, commodities. Yeah, I'll end it with commodities here because I do have to go. But commodities definitely pay attention to. Commodities are printing us money. And I'm pretty stacked in commodities. I've got Barrick Gold, and I looked at how many I had. And I have like 381 Barrick Gold. So I was off yesterday. And Pan America Silver, I said 272. I have 312. The rest I was right about. B2 Gold, I have 3,222 shares. I have 1,222 shares each of First Majestic and Fortuna Silver Mines. So I filled these up pretty damn good to the way I wanted. And we're going to let it roll. We're going to let these roll. B2 Gold finally broke out of a key resistance that it got rejected on about 7 times at that $3.47 area, 348. But I mean, when you're a little bit farther across, but it was right around 347 where we kept getting rejected. We did it 350 a couple times, but that was a big rejection area right there. And we finally got over it. I actually like it a little bit lower. I like it like that for a little bit of grace when I was pushing up. But that's what we would have to hold now on a back test. But our next range here is $3.84. And then the technical move up from here, assuming that this actually holds, and it does, it's up to $5. So Frankie Fresh, if this, what do you think about a limit buy on ZBCN tonight at 0028? That's kind of in between my that's kind of in between my two numbers. It's either going to be 0033 for ZBCN, like Nick said, or it's going to come down if it does continue to break down, which it might not. I still think there's a fair value gap at 0022. So I mean, you're right in between there. So I mean, I don't hate it. It's just obviously if it broke down the whole way. But let this be a lesson to everybody, too. If you were in ZBCN with us and MXC, because we caught both of them prior to the rally, just before, because we rotated from ZBCN and MXC. It was a flawless rotation. Just be aware of what happened after and why I pulled out after and why I begged everybody to take profits. No matter how good it looks on the way up to 006, now you've cut in more than the half. You know, so you take your profits. You realign and understand the pattern has to reflip at some point. It's down 60%. And ZBCN from the top is down. Even in current times, 32. It went as low as 45. No, it went as low as 42. So there's been some big corrections there. Now we watch. Now we wait and see. We see if the market can have a little bit of upward volatility, which it can. It really kind of stuck in between two different spots here. CJ2 Pilot, you did great. You were in it. Yes, you did. Yeah, I'm indifferent on data right now. Like right now, when I bought it yesterday, it ended up making a small move up. And when it had that little flag filled out, like I said yesterday, I'd probably sell it when it came up to that exhaustion wick to the top, which is what I did. Because I want to see it prove to me that way it's going to hold this and go up. Because I still have an inclination that it comes down here. So it's got to convince me to hold it. Just to hold it. You know, I was okay buying it during the live yesterday. And I said that that little flag that we had yesterday. And it actually filled it out exactly like I drew it yesterday from here. At 0139 or 0142 or whatever the fuck it was. 0142. And it filled this exhaustion up. And it's below that 0148, so it's in that no man's land. For now, I did. Yeah, I talked about it in the beginning. For now, I did just because I want to see if it can prove it. But I want to see what it does. And I'm not saying that it's going to break down. It was easier for me to be on the outside looking in to do a better analysis for myself. Because otherwise I start to look at it and I'm trying to find reasons why it's going to go up instead of why it's going to go down and up. You know? So I found it better like this. I felt more comfortable like this. But I'm not convinced by no means. Quant's gone up 4.8% right now. And this could be an outlier here that the next candle could be decent. Like nice W reversal. You know, obviously it could be a topping reversal as well because it didn't come outside the resistance. Could possibly be some kind of rising wedge, but until it is, you know, you still got to look at it as something good. I didn't keep anything right now, to be honest with you. The ones that I bought yesterday, FileNet, I just put them to the side for now. And I'm waiting to see. I mean, I still have XRP, XRP Healthcare, and whatever. But as far as the two from yesterday, no. Because I want to see if this can hold. I want to see if Filecoin, if this is the right spot, which it could be. It really could be because we're on the outside. We're trying. It could also be the resistance hit. That's why I keep saying we're in no man's land. But I don't feel so bad about this. Because I feel like it could pop up very quickly here. So I don't feel bad about this. If you're holding it, I wouldn't feel bad. In fact, you know, my own analysis can lead me back in or away from things. So I don't think that's necessarily bad. I think like what happened with data yesterday, I think we could start to do something like that. If we get a rejection, we'll just come down first here. You know, back down near that 250, 255 level. So, but I'm not saying I'm not going to rebuy back in. I'm just saying I want it to be liquid right now until this daily close and see what direction it decides to take because I could see this line up in our favor here. So it's not that I don't think it's going to have a chance. That's not what I'm trying to say here. In fact, I think we might have an opportunity here. And that's why I said yesterday, if you have conviction, you know, I'm looking right now to accept long-term stuff just on. Exactly, CJ2 Pilot. That's how I am. Long-term, like the XRP, XRP Healthcare and such, fine. But like as far as the ones that I'm speculating on the micro move, because I still think Ethereum's the gatekeeper and it's giving us hope. As long as that golden cross doesn't get, we don't lose it, this gives us hope that we're capable of moving out quickly right now. It's the gatekeeper, like I keep saying. Get over 2,618 and we got ball game here. So there's plenty of signs here that we could move up. There's plenty of signs we could move down. So it's kind of one of those things. I've been thinking, what if I'm filing data What if we explode up and use the eventual Bitcoin drop on a pattern pullback needed for in the future? It's possible. It's possible, Crypto Cooter. That's why I'm having such a hard time here. I'm having a really hard time whether or not this is going to go up or not, because it's got a couple different areas that contradict themselves. But the Ethereum one is the one to pay attention to, because if Ethereum can gain a little bit of traction, we'll be okay. It's just we keep sliding under that critical spot, so we're just gonna have to wait and see. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. I'm gonna go. I want to go hang out with Julie before the kids have to go, and just some stuff to do here. We'll get into this a little.